Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, make sure you follow me on all socials and let's get into the video. Okay, today we're going to talk about emotional control and why lawyers need to express emotions is going to be our first topic, and then we're going to go from there. So basically, emotions are what makes us human. And I want people to understand that just because you have the title of being a lawyer does not mean that you aren't human in a way. You do still have human emotions, right? So hurt feelings can often lead us to experience emotional state of anger, which is something we don't want to express in court. The courtroom confidence setting is going to be something based on our desires of what we want the outcome to be. So if we're going to go in afraid and we're going to go in with fear, we're going to go in with frustration, anger, most likely our result of that case will come out negative because of the way we went into it. So scared feelings can also lead into a response of a fight or flight mode. This is something that you don't want to happen, because when you hit that fight or flight mode, you most likely will hit the fight mode, and then you will turn into somebody in the courtroom who you don't want to become. This is also something that leads to an emotional state of stage fright depression. And I know people are going to be like, what is that? Stage fright depression is where you start to hit a stage within the system of fear of, okay, now I have to see this person, now I have to speak to this person, okay, now I'm scared, and now I'm hitting depression of really fast. You're going to start quickly turning and turning and turning and turning. You don't want that to happen. Okay, so now we're going to hit the stages of happiness, joy, and understanding. Why people most likely have a dead straight face in the courtroom. It is because when you are there, especially on a defense side, you go in with a straight face and you don't go in with a smile. You don't go with the expressions. You don't go in with certain vibes off your body, because people can read. Most likely, most of the time, I will read people, but other people can read you as well. So whenever you're going into a setting of this nature, most likely 9 out of 10 people will be able to read your vibes. They will understand the particular experience, the emotional setting, and the emotional key points that you're going into. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some key points to consider when understanding emotional control. Emotions are based on the most decisions. The numerous studies have demonstrated that emotions are justified by the actual need to understand, right? So when we're going in with an emotional decision, we're going in based on, this is how I'm going to act due to this decision at hand. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Or you see that other people are starting to have different body language, stuff like that. That's how you know there's something wrong. Okay, understanding the impact of your own emotions is so critical, and I believe this 1000%. Studies known about how emotions are affecting our decisions and make us aware of our own emotions will unstable us to be better, and how our emotions are most likely effective. So I see this a little bit differently. I'm going to see this as the way that you come off as a person, the way that you act, the way that you say things, the way that you implement in your daily life is how you are as a person. But with this being said, in a courtroom setting, I can act one way, but my whole livelihood is a completely different way. So whenever I personally am in a courtroom setting, you're going to see me straight face. You're not going to see me laugh, smile, do this, do that. You're going to see me go in with that like boss bee mentality, because I know that if I go in with any other mentality, people are going to start to see me completely different. Balance is key. You need to balance your emotions out, because if you are completely like straight faced the whole entire time, like nothing is happening, but you can see that a prosecution's point of view might be a little bit differently, or might be a little bit bigger, and it's like a very fearful, or there's just something, and you're just like, they're gonna start to notice that you're like not human. They're gonna be like, why is this person like that? So whenever somebody does have a valid point that is not necessarily the best point, or the point that you would like to make stated, so basically a negative point about your own client, you just simply just like either nod, or it's like you just change your tone, change your body language, because you don't want to be completely muted out that it's like, this girl's psycho, like I can't believe she would defend somebody like this, or stuff like that, because people want to know that you are still human. You're not pathological or crazy or insane, because they don't want to see that you are a narcissistic lawyer. We'll talk about that in a different video of the different types of lawyers there are, but yes, that is definitely something. Okay, using our emotions to obtain justice is going to be the second point. Now, this is definitely something that personally I experience a lot of. My emotions are something that when I say I use my emotions to obtain justice, I do on a daily basis. I overuse my emotions when it comes to cases sometimes. Even though I say to myself all the time, like, I work off of facts and reasoning and not emotions, that is true to a point. But sometimes when I start to see that emotions are something that I want involved in my case, it's because I most likely do. Okay. Credibility is critical. If you are one of those lawyers, again, one of those narcissistic lawyers, that is a thing. We'll talk about it later. But the lawyers who are like, I got this, I'm good, I don't need you, my reputation's too good, I'm a bad, like, I got this, all those type of lawyers where they're like, I never mess up, I never do anything wrong. That is where the credibility is critical. If you are going to be one of those type of lawyers, you need to have the most insane credibility behind your back at all times. Okay, now we're going to discuss positive emotions. When discussing positive emotions, you want people to understand that personally, positive emotions are simply just your own emotions. That's it. But just state them, okay? So, with this being said, when going into a case, if you were a defense attorney who is defending a person who has committed the crime and you're gonna go in, you want people to stay on your side, right? But people are gonna start to say, like, they did it, they did it, they did it. You don't want to respond, which is why when people walk out of courtrooms or courthouse or whatever it is, they start to get bombarded with the news, the media, all this other stuff, and it's like a no comment type of thing. That's because you don't want it to come off as negative. People just want to, like, zone it out, move on with their lives. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts in expressing emotions in the courtroom. Do not present conclusions. Instead, show the facts that lead to the feeling or emotion. Do not highly present emotions without first explaining their purpose. Why is this person have these emotions? Why is the person on the stand crying? Why is this happening? Do not do things that will make any of the jurors cry in the courtroom. You want your jurors to stay as mentally together as possible. You don't want them to break down. You want them to feel emotions. You want them to understand. You also want them to be in that specific spot, but you don't want them to break down in the middle of the courtroom, because it's like, okay, how do I specifically know that they're not making a decision based off of their emotions and they're making it based off of facts and reasoning? Okay. Do not use witnesses simply for an emotional appeal. Okay. So if somebody's crying on stand again, that's how it goes. Do be professional with using opposing counsel at all times, especially when you do not want to. Do present the factual stories that lead up to the emotions in the case. Do spend time discovering your client's story and understanding what scenes and themes will revoke emotions. This is mine. This is 100%. This is what I do all the time. This is something that personally I do at all times. Do reflect your own life experiences so that you can truly experience your emotions and your feelings. Put yourself in somebody else's position so that you can understand. Do look at the heart, mind, and body of the other person. Practice this every day and use role reverse and empathetic listening techniques. Basically, in order to be a lawyer to a point, you need to have empath blood in your veins. If you don't know what an empath is, then do some research. Okay, to the conclusion to this whole entire video, now that we are done, I really hope you made it to the end, but always remember that we are human, we are lawyers, and we are still doing what we need to do. Because of our feelings, we are able to be empathetic to everything that is simply made in the law field. If you work on this, the greatest tool will be not just in your courtroom, but in your daily life and to actual other humans you have relationships with. Now that we are done. So, if you have any other questions about emotional control in the courtroom, I would love to hear them. I would love all the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to this video. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok for sure. And I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.